Welcome to Caledon, located on the Blackwater at the point where County Tyrone, County Armagh and County Monaghan meet. The serpentine Blackwater has wound its course towards Lough Neagh from time immemorial. It forms a natural boundary between Tyrone and its neighbouring counties of Monaghan and Armagh, along which the earliest settlers most likely made their way. Over time, people built new places to live and work, further away from the river. The relics of that early human interaction with the landscape can still be found in many raths spotted across the district. These early farmsteads were the core of a cattle-based economy that prospered here for centuries. Thus was born the ancient settlement of Cunard, the head of the hill, at a strategic bend in the Blackwater Valley, where, in the medieval period, the ruling O'Neill established a fortification on their southern frontier. A castle at Cunard is mentioned in the annals in 1480 as being occupied by Sean Bui O'Neill, who defended it against the Earl of Kildare and an English army. A century later, Sir Henry Oge was restored to his lands, having fought against Elizabethan forces during the 9 Years' War. His son, Sir Philip O'Neill, was one of the principal figures in the rebellion of 1641. It was Philip who took Lord Cauffield prisoner at Charlemont, bringing him to Cunard, where he would meet his death at the hands of O'Neill. General Monro is said to have crossed the Blackwater at this point on his march to Benburb in 1646. Sir Philip's adversaries proved less forgiving than those of his father, and following his capture, he was executed in 1653. Records of that time show Sir Philip O'Neill as the proprietor of more than 1,200 acres of land, including Cunard town and park. Among the lands belonging to O'Neill were the ruins of the market town and castle of Cunard, as well as a stone bridge over the river Blackwater. The castle and lands were confiscated by Cromwell and granted to a branch of the Hamiltons. In time, it passed through marriage to the 5th Earl of Orrery, who developed a domain on the site. In 1779, the lands were bought by the Alexander family, who built Caledon House during the Georgian era. The name Caledon is probably a derivation of the old Latin name for Scotland, Caledonia, the old name of Cunard becoming lost in history. Just east of where the O'Neill Castle once stood, and stretching away from the domain, emerged the modern village of Caledon, which adopted the name of the big house. Occupying a hill, the needle spire of the Church of St. John sits sentinel over this neat little village of fine terraces of stone cottages. Today, the graveyard retells the history of those who built this place. The village grew as a port and a market town during the Industrial Revolution. By the 1830s, it had prospered under the watchful eye of the second Earl of Caledon and contained more than 200 houses, most of which were built with stone. Samuel Lewis, in his Topographical Dictionary, described Caledon as one of the best built towns in the north of Ireland. The many tributaries of the Blackwater provided an ideal environment for the mills to be located along its course. The first water wheel, made entirely of iron, was said to have been made for the Earl of Caledon to drive a mill here in 1829. The flour mill, which had once produced more than 9,000 tons of flour each year, was converted to produce woolen cloth in the 1880s by Sherrod, Smith and Company. The Caledon beam engine is all that remains of Caledon woolen mills, which were demolished in 1985. The tales and fortunes of the past 200 years are echoed in Caledon's architecture. The artisans' cottages, courthouse, market house, fountain and churches give Caledon the appearance of a neat little English market town settled comfortably among the rolling drumlins and the peaceful woodlands of the Mid-Ulster landscape. In recent years, some locals, with an appreciation for the history and architecture of the area, have worked together to help breathe new life into the many old buildings and developing a strong, united community spirit. The clock on the courthouse continues to chime out, a welcome to visitors to come to Caledon to see our built heritage and the surroundings.